and gentlemen, without further ado, to the northwest position. In the red trunks playing Protoss, he survived innovation. But now, he goes up against life itself. For CJ enters, it is Hero.
And in the bottom right of the map, King Sejong Station, he always seems to find a way. It is Startail Life.
That he does. That he does. And strangely enough, as much as we might not really think of Life as a particularly incredible ZVPer, lately his ZVP has actually been much better statistically than his ZVT, which is a little bit weird. Now, form can be strange like that.
Yeah, everyone goes into kind of ins and outs of how good they feel in each matchup and whatnot. You know, Life is someone, though, I always trust to put out good games in any matchup. But to be fair, just a couple nights ago, he did lose in Code S twice against SKT1's Paralyzed. But, you know, SKT1 has the strongest Protoss lineup in the world. So if you're going to lose to any team's Protoss, I guess that's the one.
Yeah, that is very, very true. Paralyzed is a... What? What's going on?
Cannon rush.
Oh my god. And what a cannon rush. A 3-pylon wall in. Hang on a minute, though. Can a cannon actually fit in there? That's...
I think so. Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it can.
And he's gonna probably pop his probe right out, or at least try to. And,
oh my
He
god!
actually should have been a little bit quicker to move those drones down, I think.
What a
But
move.
this is already being pretty effective, and a second probe is coming.
What a move. The fact that he got out of there and placed the photon cannon before the block, the fact the probe, well, it's dead now, but Life has had to pull all of his drones. Is like saying, this is terrible. This is not a good position.
What? If no other cannons were to go up,
he'd be okay. But a third one and a fourth.
Those cannons don't hit anything, but now these will.
Yeah, that they will. And, oh, well, he's putting up a spine crawler. Okay, that seems like a reasonable response. He can actually nibble at this one with, I think, 2 drones. I don't think... he can't get the third in there. That's as many as he can do without getting in range of that cannon. But that's gonna... And that's not gonna kill it before it finishes. It's gonna get it pretty close, but... Well, this is already a great start to this series, but the Lings come down at the... they spawn just at the right time and somehow... Don't kill the cannon! It's on 5 HP!
5 health.
Oh, there it goes.
So much extra damage to this spine crawler warping in. This is looking bad because he has that next probe coming down to help add on even more cannons.
Oh my god.
Oh man, this is really, really rough.
Hero shows no mercy on this map. And what a cannon rush that was. Like, the amount of precision required to pull that off.
I tell you, cannon rushes have been coming really, really popular lately. We're seeing them all the time, all over the place, because people are getting so good at them like this, and Hero really showing us that it doesn't even matter. He pulls all those drones, whatever, kill him anyways.
And this is, I mean, it's a complete and total disaster here for Life. GG. 5 minutes 41. Hero shows no mercy whatsoever, and a crushing start to this series.
A little bit quicker than I wanted that game, but still pretty exciting. A good cannon rush to see. Definitely something I'll be trying out in the ladder a little bit. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do to win, and Hero definitely wants to advance here.
That he does. And if he keeps playing like that, he will. I can't imagine that Life is going to fall for that again. And it does seem a fairly map-specific strategy, I would say.
I mean, each map has its own types of cannon rushes, right? Like, you really have to figure out what works best on the map, what are their scouting patterns like, what are minerals like, you know, how can I push from these locations? So I definitely won't see the exact same thing. We could see another cannon rush, though, because they are really strong right now.
Yeah, we could. We very well could. It would be, I think, maybe a disappointing end to the night, if that were the case. It's definitely not what we're looking for.
Look, I'm looking for one Stormhost game tonight and one Mutalisk game. Let's finish it off like that. I don't care who wins. Let's just have the high-end tech units.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be nice, but how these players, they play for keeps. And as they should, you know. There's the people that play with honor, and there are the people that win.
Yes, and I tell you what, Life, I don't think he's even mad, because
No,
you
probably
want to
not.
talk about people that just win and don't play with honor, that's Life in a nutshell for you. This guy will do any sort of cheese he thinks will work, and he knows that something like that can happen as well.
Yes, absolutely. It's just something you deal with. It happens. It was extremely well executed. So, it's definitely something that stings, but you deal with it, and you move on. And that's the kind of thing that Hero is just a master at pulling off. You know, that's the Pro League environment right there, completely and totally cutthroat. But this is a best of 3, and Life isn't out of it yet, and we know what happens when Life gets mad. So let's see if he can bring it back here. Outboxer, once again, will be the venue here for the next encounter.
Well, we'll see. Will Hero do another cheese? Life, on the other hand, might go for a pool first or something. He likes those early pools, Totalbiscuit.
He does. He certainly does. Will that be something that he pulls out here? He's going to have to pull out something. I don't know. Does he have to really cheese? As long as he can get to the mid-game, I feel like Life is more than capable of taking on Hero at this point.
Oh, totally. I have to agree with you there.
All right. Well, let's find out. Ladies and gentlemen, the smiling assassin himself is certainly grinning to himself at the moment. No doubt about that. After a brutal move in the last map. To the southeast position in the blue trunks, playing Protoss, CJ enters Hero.
And his opponent, having lost to the now grinning assassin in that last game to a quick cannon rush, looking for revenge, it is Startail Life.
Alright, well, we will see if we see another cannon rush. It's unlikely, I would think. But
I don't think he's going to, especially with the pylon in the main. Like, it's probably just a really fast nexus into a gateway, and that's a very greedy macro build.
yeah, and when you 1-up, you have the flexibility to do that. And it puts your opponent on the back foot, especially in this case. Life is 1 game away from elimination.
Yeah, well, you know what? I would say that means Life is going to use his best strat, but the thing is, Life always uses what he thinks will win, not necessarily like what he's best at or what he thinks his strongest type of play is. If he thinks a 6-pool will win, he'll just do it. Yeah. But apparently that's not the case. Looks like he's going for more of a macro build as well. So looks like he's pretty confident in himself going into this game number 2.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We still see no pool from Life at this point. One I imagine is going to pop up right about now. There it is.
Well done.
Just a slight bit of doubt. It's like, no, he's not. No, absolutely not.
Not a double hatch, right?
No,
that would be a little bit greedy right now.
Just a smidge, yeah.
Yeah. Well, Hero comes over. He might fake a cannon rush. You never know. We see a lot of fakes where you throw up the pylon. You hope that they bring a bunch of drones down like we saw from Life before, but even though he's kind of juking and jiving back there, decides not to waste his money.
Yeah. It's not a huge investment to fake a cannon, but you do have to try and do it pretty convincingly. So it's not like you can just throw a pylon down and have them pull 20 drones at you. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, maybe there was a smile on his probe's face as he is the assassin, and kind of gave it away there to that drone. Either way, I mean, he doesn't go for anything like that. Going into much more macro-esque type of play with the greediest opening that you can do as Protoss. Whereas Life, pretty safe one overall. Yeah, hatch first, but a pool afterwards, so nothing too out of the ordinary.
No, absolutely not. So what I'm hoping for is a decently long game, because that one was definitely a disappointment. But hopefully we'll get a better one than that.
Well, I think we're almost there, actually. Like, another 30, 40 seconds. Yeah, I don't think the game's going to end. Two things on the way? Yeah, it should be fine.
Yep.
We'll be having a much longer game.
Already be better than the last one. It's at this point, Hero just pulls all his probes and just goes. Like, every single one of them. It's like, this'll work. This'll be fine.
Wouldn't that be fun? Oh, my God. Reminiscent of some former pros.
Former pros, indeed. Yes. Aspiring League of Legends stars. So I've been told.
Yes, possibly. We do have a Stargate on the way here from Hero. And I do wonder, is he going to go for Phoenix or Oracle? I I normally like to see him go for Oracle personally. He feels like an Oracle type of guy to me.
Yeah, Phoenix used to be so popular in this matchup, but that was in Wings of Liberty, where your options were a little more limited. And it will be an Oracle.
Well, the follow-up to that normally is going to be a third base and grabbing, some Void Rays. Just make sure you're kind of safe against everything while you harass and scout with your Oracle. So it looks like this game is really progressing just completely normally.
Yeah. Life did get the scout on the Stargate there. Hopefully he did click on it just before his Ling was killed. So he did get in there, as Life has a tendency to do very well. Slipped past that. He's certainly not going to be getting in again anytime soon. There's not a lot of dead air space on this map, so Overlord scouting into the base after this point is nigh on impossible. You can have a look at the natural, but that's all you're going to get. So Life does have the information he needs to kind of go forward here. There's the Oracle, which has already been met by Queens. The shields are already stripped off it, so that's worked fairly well. But where's the other Queen, actually? Oh, there she is. Yep, so maybe a drone or two dies, but that's going to be about it.
Yeah, not too much damage. 4 kills. That's a very common number for Oracles.
That
but as you said, not
Oracle's
a lot of
dead.
airspace.
Yeah.
Oh my god, he just got it.
Yeah.
Wow, great moves there by Life.
Absolutely.
Very nice defense.
Yeah, I mean, 1 Oracle for 4 drones, definitely not a good pull, but his Queen count is really unusually high. Like, he's sitting on 5 right now, and I don't think Hero necessarily expected there to be that many Queens, especially when he saw 2 at the 3rd. He's like, oh, well, you can only have 1 in your main, and then, nope, we've got spares. Here they are.
Oh, well, you know what? It's kind of interesting. I noticed earlier that Life was going for the latest gases that Life ever really gets in the matchup, which is around 6 minutes. And the fact that he's added this many Queens on as well and 2 Evos right now, I wonder if he's going to go kind of like a Zergling heavy style in this map, kind of like an old Lucira or Kangho, I guess as he's called now, style.
I refuse to call him Kang Ho, I'm sorry. That's just not going to happen.
Right on. I'm right there with you, man. Lucira forever.
Yep.
And
him and Swagger are the 2 that I refuse to call by that name.
Oh, God. The best thing to call Swagger is dumb for making a name like that.
He's on my FPL anti-team, and I'm not even sad about that.
Oh, that's so mean. But, we do have the melee attack on the way, so it looks like this will be a Zergling-based army, at least for now, coming out of Life.
Well, that Phoenix just really met a lot of resistance to its scouting mission. I've got to say, it's like, why are there so many Queens? He's got to be thinking to himself, that's an unusual number. The creep spread is going to be absolutely out of control, and this is not a big map either.
No, the map is actually like really cramped, at least really cramped feeling, because there isn't a lot of airspace all around. The bases go towards each other pretty quickly overall. So, the creep spread gonna be a little bit ominous as it inches towards the Protoss on 2 different sides.
Certainly, although it does also kind of make a nice little setup for a sentry heavy play here from the Protoss. So if you're gonna go with a very Ling heavy style, then you could end up in a situation where they get trapped. That is a pretty early infestation pit, I've got to say, and Burrow being added on here.
Yeah, it certainly is. I wonder if he's going to be rushing up to Ultralisk, a very old style that Life liked quite a bit back in the day. But as of right now, all he needs to do is focus on not taking any damage from this little harassment ball that we have out of Hero.
And a War Prism is being added on, but none of those big sort of game-ending micro-heavy power units that a Protoss player can actually kill a Zerg with. No Warp Prism with 3 Immortals, no Colossus, nothing along those lines. These gateway units are annoying, and yes, you can catch out an awful lot of Lings with them, but not going to kill a Zerg. And looks like Life is looking for a longer game indeed. Swarm hosts are on the way, and he is taking... Wow, that's actually a 4th base and a macro hatch.
Well, you know what? He's producing a lot of Lings to go along with this,
Oh, yeah.
so that does kind of make sense. The Ling's going to be very good for counter-harassment if he does try to push through those Swarm hosts. And the Swarm hosts a good choice against +2 Blink, so we have Hero actually switching into double Robo Colossus, which I think is just the perfect counter for him here.
Definitely, definitely. And on a very narrow map like this, you can slaughter so many Locusts, especially with a lot of Sentry energy, just to make sure that any of the stragglers get stuck. But as we have seen in the past, while that does work, you still have to make the right moves. You can't just sit there forever and keep taking it. You got to be able to find a way in.
Well, right now, Life trying to find a way over here with the roaches on the left-hand side of the map, but Hero moving forward up the map here. He does have an observer, so Life has to be careful with these 4 swarm hosts. Doesn't want to lose those too early.
Yeah, there's not too many of them. He'll be able to pick off a Zealot, maybe 2 here. You know, nice damage on those 3 units, and actually you might even get 3, which is fantastic. You know, can't complain. 3 Zealots for free, and that really reduces the size of Hero's force. And Hero's army is small right now. You know, he's certainly playing with fire here. I like the clear out, but he does go for the Warp Prism Harass. It gets nothing done because there's a million lings at the natural, so that's not a factor. And I like the addition of static defense as well. So many. So even Zerg players just don't put static defense down, and then they end up getting harassed and all sorts of things like that. And Life is just saying, you know what, my fight's going to be at the front, and any attempt to get around me is going to be met by spine crawlers.
Yeah, it's a great way to play when you know your opponent has to harass, because you know, you were talking about it earlier, this is a cramped map. This is kind of a smaller feeling map, and with swarm hosts, you gotta harass against them. You can't just beat your head against them all day long.
No.
You have to abuse their mobility, but if everything is all, you know, spined up and spored up, it's really hard to do.
Yeah. Now, the swarm host mass is not critical yet. And I think Hero realizes that and is looking to try and do that kind of attack. A Roach run-by is going to hit the 3rd base here, and there is only 1 cannon to deal with that. The Mothership Core is actually with the army, so there will not be a photon overcharge. I have to wonder if Hero can push through this. I don't know, maybe there's too much static defense. Spore Crawlers are coming up, Lings are coming in to reinforce. The Roaches are trying to do as much as they can at the 3rd base here, and Hero does not have enough to break this.
No, and in fact, he just lost his observer to that spore, so that's a big deal as well. He can't even kill off those swarm hosts if he does get in there.
Ling run by the 4th.
Ling's going up. Oh, and will he get a cancel? He's definitely going to lose the Lings.
Yeah, he's looking for the cancel here. Maybe there should be enough to stop this from going down. It's a lot of damage, though. You know, that's something that's very easily run by and finished off later. And it's a shame the creep isn't pushed out a little bit more, because those Locusts could have actually caught the Colossus there. That would have been lovely. Zealot run by across the map. It's sitting on creep. It's going to get spotted, surrounded, and killed very quickly. And at the moment, this is a very harass-proof Zerg. But we are still looking at a Protoss player that somehow inexplicably only lost 2 workers to that Roach run by and has 4 bases.
Well, he's continuing to push forward here. He's done a good job keeping this creep spread back. He's doing a good job continuing to push. But that's a lot of Corruptors that are joining in. And with these Locusts to take hits, you can start picking off these Colossus.
Yeah.
1 already falls down.
Yeah, I was probably going to take another one here as well. Good control here by Hero, certainly. There is a big Zealot warp in, but unfortunately it hit a wall of spine crawlers. Maybe it got a Roach and a Queen or 2, but that's really about it. And Hero's army does take some damage. Life is maxed and is starting to build up that terrifying bank. And I do love the way that Life actually uses Swarm Hosts. He likes to move them around. Just a more interesting way of doing things to really push. But, man, those are +3 Zealots, and they're still in the main base, and they're still trying to fight. And that was another huge warp in there from the Protoss player. Although the Zealot's getting a really nasty spot, and they're going to eventually be cut down, but not before doing a bit more damage.
Yeah, that's really an annoying thing to actually have to deal with.
Yeah.
The Warp Prism even looks like it is going to get away from a Corruptor on that right-hand side.
That's
so a good job from Hero getting that out.
That is infuriating. Oh, Life with the riskiest Swarm Host of all time. I don't think that's going to live through that, but he has a lot of Swarm Hosts now, and they're in this very narrow choke, which is a blessing and a curse. He's going to be able to put a lot of Locusts in the direction of the Protoss army, but there are still a decent number of Colossus, and Storm has about been added in here. It's about 30 seconds away.
Yeah, well, he's moving forward with his spores. He does have those Vipers with the Corruptors, which means he can easily pull in Colossus. And the thing is, without Colossus, you are not really going to break a big Swarm Host army. That's why he has these High Templars, but that's the beautiful dance of late-game PvZ, because the Locusts just do such a great job against High Templars.
It's insane how well Hero has managed to get his economy going here. He even shut down the Roach run-by on the left with +3 Zealots. And they were so good. And, oh, nice yanks. He gets 1, he gets 2, and pulls out there without losing any Corruptors. So that's taken a lot of the teeth out of this push here. Storms do go down. That was a nice one. And he doesn't end up losing the Colossus either. The Corruptus takes significant damage. And there are Zealots sort of marauding all over the place. This Warp Prism is back. It has got shut down, but there are Zealots now charging towards the third base. Link's coming to try and stop this from happening. Those are heavily upgraded Zealots, though, and he's not gonna get the hatchery. What a snipe.
Oh, man. He was busy microing elsewhere. He had like 4 transfuses there. And in the meantime, we actually do have those Swarm hosts being pushed back.
Lings are coming to reinforce, but of course they can't engage against the Colossus, and there are still 4 of them available. Archons have been added into the mix as well. Attempted Ling run by here by Life. The SimCity is really, really good, but I think this might be some economic damage. I don't think it's going to matter that much, though. That 4th base is still very much operational. He might be able to do some damage to the 3rd, but he'll invest quite a few Lings to do it. The Protoss doesn't care. He's still on 72 probes.
Yeah, his economy is basically untouched at this point, but Life's is too. The thing is, it's 4 base against 4 base, and we all know what happens when it's 4 base against 4 base. Protoss is in the lead.
Yeah.
And, well, is Protoss actually in the lead this game? That's a little bit harder to say. I mean, he's done some good harassment. He's pushed back the armies a few times, but Life has a bigger bank and more supply.
Life lost his spawning pool. He's actually building Broodlords, interestingly enough. And, oh, wow, the Great Aspire actually gets scouted and is being sliced at the moment. And the Spike Crawl... No, that actually might die. There's very few reinforcements. It looks like the Great Aspire may go down. Yeah, that's gonna pop. That sucks. That really hurts. In the meantime, a bunch more Lings run by, forcing a lot of Storms out, actually doing some economic damage, but Key Tech is being sniped here by Hero in a very effective way, and in the meantime is going up against these Swarm Hosts. What I don't like about these Swarm Hosts at the moment is they're not synced up. And they're sending units in piecemeal, which is never what you want. Anyone that's ever played Nexus Wars knows exactly what I'm talking about. Gotta sync them units up, otherwise they just die.
I have to agree with you there, and I've played my fair share of Nexus Wars.
Indeed.
So, let's see here. I mean, he's still got a good composition, though. When you pair together Broodlords and Swarm Hosts, it's pretty scary. You really need some Tempest to help deal with that. And while we do have Tempest production started, this is only 1 Stargate building 1 Tempest.
Yeah.
That's not enough to help him break it quite yet. It's going to take a while before he has what he really wants.
No. I have to wonder if it's possible for Life to get in position because, of course, he lost his Great Aspire. He has 6 Broodlords. That's all he's going to have for the next few minutes. Can he make a push with this happen in some way? These Zealots actually... Oh, this was beautiful here for Life. He repositioned his Swarm Host at just the right time and shut down like 10 plus Zealots with Locusts, which has really pushed the resource count in Life's favor. And he now seems to be getting a handle on this. The harass is pretty much done for. The Broodlords mean that any engagement against this Swarm Host force is going to be nigh on impossible until the Tempest count gets up.
Well, you know, he's continuing to try his best to get something done, but Life, really, his defense is fantastic. The one thing I'm a bit nervous about for Life, when and where does he take his 4th base? He's gonna need one pretty soon here, as his natural's dried up, his main is dried up, and his 3rd base is actually getting really low.
Yeah, it certainly is. He did manage to take this base quite early on, but there is a price for that. You know, you mine it out. He did build a powerful army with it, but unfortunately he has been trading it with Swarm Hosts, which never ends well. Lings meet up with the very heavily upgraded Zealots here, actually. Those Lings aren't even close to being good enough to trade efficiently with that, but it doesn't matter, you know. Life kind of has a bank here. He can throw away Lings to kill Zealots. More importantly, stopping the run by on the 5th base, which, you know, is where a lot of these drones are, so that's good, but this game is interesting.
Hopefully he can hold on over there. You know, he's covering the right flank with the Locust mostly, trying to attack down that right flank, because that is where Hero continues to put on his pressure, going after the 4th. And that kind of is protecting his left flank a little bit. Hero is sending some units over there, but in the meantime, coming up, he does have Tempest now, so he can start a real push.
Fungals do go down. They land on the Archons, and they actually get an Observer as well. In fact, was that the only Observer with that army? Yeah. Looks like it was, so
yeah,
that's pretty key. There's no way this army can fight now. It's going to need a new Observer. He's going to have to get out of there. Actually, he has an Oracle, but it's out of energy, so he can't use that for detection either. a bunch of drones do die over to the right-hand side, and the hatchery is allowed to complete and is now being sliced to pieces, so that's not too good for Life. But, of course, if Hero loses his entire army here, that might not even matter. A Colossus is picked off. The Corruptors are trying to engage here against the Tempest. There aren't that many of them. Looking for yet another great fungal. He lands one. The Corruptors continue to hammer forward against this Protoss army. Broodlings coming in. Another round of Locusts will be followed up. Heavy corruption being applied to this army, and that's a lot of powerful units that just got taken out here.
It certainly is. He's down to just a couple Tempests and 3 Colossus, but at the same time, definitely some Zerg units did go down there.
They did, yeah.
Not as much as you would hope
no
as the
Broodlords died.
Protoss player. Yeah, I mean, he's still got his 12 Storm Hosts and 5 Infestors and 6 Broodlords with 8 Corruptors left over. Still a super strong army, but at least during all of this, Hero got to cancel that 5th base from Life.
Yes, yes he did. And Life is pretty much mined out at his 3rd. In fact, his 4th is really the only operational mining base at this point. So, outside of gas, of course, we're going to have to see those, like, 52 drones transfer to 1 base, which is going to absolutely suck. Life maybe has got to the point where you could secure this one over to the northeast, possibly, if he repositions his swarm hosts a bit. But it's a difficult prospect. Now Locusts are making their way towards the 4th of Hero, but they're not really going to get much done.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be hard for him to take that northeast space, I think, just because he's so low on creep tumors. Life is really not one of these Zergs that continues to push creep all game. He pushes it a certain amount, but he's not like one of these crazy guys like Snoot who will just be like, aha, all the creep is back everywhere all of a sudden. Yep. You know, it's kind of a more slow-going process with him.
Fungals applied. Second one follow-up here as well, which means a couple of Archons do die, and that's a nice use of the fungal, actually. A bunch of these Stalkers get caught out and killed there by the Broodlords. The Cloak is going to be very nice here. There's 3 Overseers on the map, so that should be enough to detect that. The Mothership will be a bit annoying, but he's able to, again, stop kind of a big push. But as you said, like, so few creep tumors, he has no real coverage over to the right side of the map.
Yeah, it's pretty tough, you know, and that's why Hero keeps pushing that same lane, because that really keeps his base safe, and it's denying that northeast expansion. But I think he realized that eventually he has to switch up sides and go over to the other side, or there's going to be another Zerg base up and another front that he's pushing down.
I'm still very impressed by Hero's ability to deny run-bys, because that's usually what Life is really, really good at, but Life's got no looking, really. Outside of a couple of little bits of damage. Hero is, like, obviously mining out quite heavily here, but he is going to take this 5th base. He's got a lot of cannons down already. It's going to be very difficult to do a real run-by, whereas Hero's been able to run by himself with 3-2 Zealots, and now they are meeting up against fairly heavily upgraded Roaches, so they will eventually be stopped. But, oh, those Templar at the front, that's pretty brutal. A couple escape under the cloaking field there, but this is... I don't really know who's ahead here. I mean, Life... Oh, the fungal is really, really good, though. And it looks like Life is going to be able to do a lot of damage here. That Mothership is certainly going to die, I think. Oh, well, recall, like never mind.
Has to hit that recall. And the thing is, if you look at this game, I think almost everyone would say that Hero is a bit ahead, but Life has the type of composition and the type of skills that it takes with a unit set like this to say, no, you're not necessarily ahead of me. You know, he's one of these guys like a Leenock or a Yu-Gi-Oh, someone like that can like play this cost-efficient set of Zerg units forever and just get so much out of it. As we're seeing here, he just stomped that Protoss army and made him recall, despite the fact that Hero has, you know, 5 bases at this point. He's been pushing this entire time. He got some great feedbacks and storms off. Didn't matter. Life held him off.
Oh, the fungal from Life. Locks all of those Zealots down. Collapses the rocks on top of the Zealots.
I love it. That was such a nice move right there. And that's going to make it even harder to get in there and actually harass. He's going to need a Prism. Or maybe send in the Void Rays he's making right now.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's going up to 9. He's going to be up to 13 Void Rays very soon. That's going to be very surprising for Life, who has relied at this point on his Corrupt account. It's not going to be anywhere near enough. Of course, Fungals will be important, but there are only 5 Infestors on very low energy. So this Void Ray transition could catch Life completely off guard.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. He doesn't have that many Corruptors, so let's see how he does. He actually does yank forward that Mothership, and it will go down so quickly. No spells cast, a big mistake there. And these Void Rays really going to town.
Oh, yes, they are. I think a couple of Vipers just got obliterated there as well. The Corruptor's dying, of course, and no fungal follow-up. And that Great Aspire maybe not in the best position ever, but hey, you thought you could defend it, but suddenly the front line of life just completely collapsed from that Void Ray transition, and he lost the base in the process.
Well, you know what you called it. Those Void Rays caught him off guard there for a moment. He's trying to make more Corruptors, but 6 Corruptors against a bunch of upgraded Void Rays are nothing. They're less than nothing. They're worse than nothing because they cost money and supply. So this is actually a big issue. This flying army may be enough to end this game.
Yeah, I think he needs a lot more Infestors. Oh my god, he's been running this entire time without Pathogen Glands. The entire time.